Hello guys, कैसे हो आप सब? I welcome all of you to the series of NISM Research Analyst. Guys, देखते देखते हम 17th वीडियो पे आ चुके हैं. ओके, और आज हम एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक डिस्कस करने वाले हैं जिसका नाम है ऑनशोर एंड ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग्स. क्या होता है यार ये? चलो देखते हैं, रीड करते हैं. While raising capital, issuers can either issue the securities in the domestic market and raise capital or approach investor outside the country. कहना ये चाहते हैं कि कैपिटल जब कंपनी रेज करती है वो इनसाइड द कंट्री भी कर सकती है यानी डोमेस्टिक मार्केट, और कैपिटल बाहर के इन्वेस्टर से भी रेज कर सकती है. If capital is raised from domestic market, it is called as onshore offering, and if capital is raised from investors outside the country, it is termed as offshore offering. गाइज मैं समझ चुका, मैं आपको सिंपल लैंग्वेज में एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ. जब भी कंपनी अपनी कंट्री के अंदर ही पैसा रेज करती है, ओके, उसको कहते हैं ऑनशोर ऑफरिंग, यानी डोमेस्टिक मार्केट में पैसा कलेक्ट करे. बट अगर वो फॉरेन मार्केट से पैसा कलेक्ट करती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड ऑफशोर मार्किंग. ऑफशोर ऑफशोर मार्केट, राइट, ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग कहते हैं उसे. ऑनशोर एंड ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग क्लियर है? ग्रेट. फिर चलो गाइस, एक बार और हम सिंपल टर्म्स में समझते हैं. एक्सप्लेन इन लेमन, explain in layman language with example. Let me simplify this for you. When a company need money to grow or run its business, it can sell securities like share bond to investor, right? जब कंपनी को पैसा रेज करना है तो क्या इशू करते हैं? शेयर्स इशू करते हैं, राइट, और बॉन्ड्स इशू करते हैं इन्वेस्टर्स को. तो टू वेज होते हैं ये करने के. एक होता है ऑनशोर ऑफरिंग, यानी द कंपनी रेज मनी विद इन इट्स ओन कंट्री. Example, a company in India wants to expand its business, so it sells shares or bonds to Indian investors like banks, mutual fund, or investors. Think of it as borrowing money from people in your neighborhood. Okay. फिर एक होता है ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग. ऑफशोर, the company raises money from investors in other countries. Example, a same Indian company sell bonds to investors in the USA or Europe. This might happen if the company believes foreign investor will give them better terms, or if they want to build its reputation globally. Think it of borrowing money from people in a different city or country. Okay. तो दैट वाज कॉल्ड ऑनशोर एंड ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग. अब हम पढ़ने वाले ऑफर फॉर सेल. गाइस, ऑफर फॉर सेल मैं आपको बहुत सिंपल लैंग्वेज में पहले ही बता देता हूँ. ऑफर फॉर सेल का मतलब ये होता है, जब कंपनी स्टार्ट हुई थी तो उस टाइम पे जो इनिशियल इन्वेस्टर थे या जो प्रमोटर्स है वो अपना स्टेक जो है वो बेचते हैं, उसे हम कहते हैं ऑफर फॉर सेल. एंड ऑफर फॉर सेल इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ share sale where the shares offered in an IPO or FPO are not fresh shares issued by the company, but an offer by existing shareholders to sell shares that have already been allotted to them. OFS does not result in increase in the share capital of the company since there is no fresh issue of the शेयर्स. चलो इतना हम पहले पार्ट कवर अप करते हैं, फिर आधा रहेगा बाद में, मतलब उसके बाद हम आगे कंटिन्यू करेंगे. ये हो क्या? सेम प्रॉम्प्ट है ना, तो यही वाला हम यहाँ से प्रॉम्प्ट भी कॉपी कर लेंगे. Here is an example, a way to understand offer for sales. Okay, what is OFS? And OFS is like a resale of goods, but instead of selling physical terms, shareholders of a company sell their shares to the public. Key point: the company itself is not issuing new shares. Instead, people or institutions that already own shares are selling some of them. Example: let's say there is a company called Techgrow Limited. Okay, initial ownership: the company's founders are company founders and early investors who own most of the shares. For instance, the founder owns 60% of the shares. OFS, offer for sale: the founder wants to sell a part of their shares, let's say 10%, to new investors. These shares are sold through the stock market using an OFS. Result: the shares now belong to the new investors, but Techgrow Limited total shares remain the same. Only the ownership changes. Money goes to the founder who sold the shares, not the company. Oh, great. Why does an OFS? Why do an OFS? Founders are early investors might sell their shares to get some return, cash out their investment, reduce their ownership while making the company more public. ओके, क्यों ओएफएस किया जाता है? फाउंडर्स और अर्ली इन्वेस्टर माइल सेल देयर शेयर्स टू गेट सम रिटर्न्स, उन्हें सम रिटर्न्स कमाना है, और रिड्यूस देयर ओनरशिप बाय मेकिंग द कंपनी मोर पब्लिक, या तो उन्हें ओनरशिप का कंपनी डाइल्यूट करना है और उसे मोर पब्लिक की होल्डिंग्स बढ़ाना है. What it's not, an OFS is not the company issuing new shares that called an IPO or FPO. IPO और FPO में कंपनी न्यू शेयर्स इशू करती है, बट OFS में पुराने ही शेयर्स को वो आगे सेल करते हैं और पैसा कलेक्ट करते हैं. ये हो सकता है जो शेयर बेच रहा होता है ना, वो पैसा उसके पास जाता है, कंपनी के पास वो पैसा नहीं जाता. अगर अर्ली इन्वेस्टर बेच रहे होते हैं अपने स्टेक, तो अर्ली इन्वेस्टर वो पैसा लेकर के जाते हैं, कंपनी को नहीं आता वो ओएफएस में. It doesn't raise money for the company, it's more like a exchange of hands for existing shares. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. दिस प्रोसीड्स फ्रॉम द ऑफर गो टू द ऑफरर्स who may be a promoter or other large investor. The disinvestment program of the government of India, where the government offer shares held by it in public sector undertaking (PSU), is an example of OFS. It may be stated that OFS is a secondary market transaction done through the primary market route. Explain in explain in layman language with example. Okay, let's break down for you in a simpler way. What happens in an OFS? The offerers, यानी कौन? People or entities who already own shares. People or entities who already own shares sell their shares to other investors. The money from this sale goes to the offerers, not the company. The money from this sale goes to the offerer, not the company. हाँ, correct. The company does not issue new shares, so the company's total share count stays the same. गवर्नमेंट का एग्जाम्पल दिया इन्होंने. Government of India uses OFS when it wants to reduce its stake in public sector undertaking PSUs. Example: suppose the government owns 60% of a PSU like Coal India Limited. To raise money, the government decided to sell 10% of its shares to the public through an OFS. Investor buy the shares and the money from the sale goes to government, not to Coal India Limited. Secondary market via primary market route. Normally, shares in an OFS are resold shares, which makes it a secondary market transaction. Okay. However, it happens to the primary market route. Means it uses the same platform and process as when a company sell new shares in an IPO or FPO. Why do an OFS? For the government to raise fund without issuing new shares. For promoters, investors to reduce their stake in the company and get money back. Okay. Why do an OFS? गवर्नमेंट क्यों करती है? पैसा रेस करने के लिए without issuing new shares. For promoters, investors to reduce their stake in the company and get money back. Key takeaways: OFS is like a resale of pre-owned items, but it's done in a highly regulated stock market setup, often to meet financial or ownership goals. Great. तो ये हो गया ओ एफ एस गाइस. ऑनशोर एंड ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग का क्लियर हो गया. कंपनी पैसा रेस करती है बॉन्ड्स और शेयर्स को इशू करके. अगर वो डोमेस्टिक मार्केट में इशू करती है उसे हम कहते हैं ऑनशोर ऑफरिंग. अगर वो बाहर के मार्केट में इशू करती है उसे हम कहते हैं ऑफशोर ऑफरिंग. उन्होंने ओ एफ एस के बारे में पढ़ा सिंपल लैंग्वेज में. ओ एफ एस ये होता है कि जो अर्ली इन्वेस्टर्स हो गए या प्रमोटर्स हो गए वो अपना स्टेक कम करते हैं कंपनी में. ओके. वो हो सकता है रिटर्न्स कमाने के लिए कर रहे हो, राइट. दैट इज कॉल्ड ओ एफ एस. तो उससे क्या होता है, और या इसके अलावा गवर्नमेंट कंपनी भी अपने स्टेक्स को बिकॉज ऑफ रूरल रिक्वायरमेंट भी उन्हें करना पड़ता है, बिकॉज सर्टन परसेंटेज जो है इक्विटी पार्टी लाइक रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स का पार्टिसिपेशन होना चाहिए रिटेल कंपनी लिमिट पब्लिक कंपनी में, राइट. तो इस वजह से भी लोग अपनी ऑफरिंग्स को कम करते हैं. तो ओ एफ एस एक ज़रिया है जिसके थ्रू वो लोग ऐसा करते हैं. और ओ एफ एस में जो पैसा आता है वो कंपनी को नहीं जाता है. जो भी प्रमोटर हो गया, इन्वेस्टर हो गया, अपने स्टेक बेच रहा है उसको पैसा जाता है. बेसिकली शेयर्स का एक्सचेंज होता है. ठीक है, सेकेंडरी मार्केट में किया जाता है. चलो अब आ गए हम स्वेट इक्विटी में. तो अंडर सेक्शन 54 एक्ट, अंडर सेक्शन 54 of Companies Act 2013, a company may issue shares to its employees, promoters, technocrats, or others as reward for their contribution to the company. These shares are referred as sweat equity. ओके, चलो ये तो बहुत ही सिंपल लैंग्वेज में उन्होंने बता दिया है, एक बार हम इसको चैट जीपीटी की मदद से भी समझ लें। यहाँ पे आएगा EXPLA एन एक्सप्लेन इन layman LANGUAG with EXAMPLA. Let's break down sweat equity in simple terms. What is sweat equity? Sweat equity refers to the shares a company gives to people like employee, promoter, or expert as a reward for their hard work, skills, or special contribution instead of paying them in cash. पता चला गया स्वेट इक्विटी क्या होता है? वो शेयर्स होते हैं जो कंपनी देती है अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ को, प्रमोटर्स को, और एक्सपर्ट्स को, उन रिवॉर्ड उनके मेहनत के लिए, उनकी स्किल्स के लिए, उनके कंट्रीब्यूशन के लिए। उनको पैसा नहीं देती है, वो पैसे की जगह पे उनको शेयर्स देते हैं। Imagine a startup called Tech Wizard Limited. Company is short on cash but want to reward its hardworking employees and a tech expert who helped create an amazing app. Instead of paying them extra money, the company gives them shares in the business. These shares are called sweat equity because they are reward of for the sweat or effort the person put into building the company. Why do company issue sweat equity? हाँ, company sweat equity issue करती क्यों है? Reward contribution. It's a way to thank people who have significantly helped the company. Okay. Retain talent. It encourages employees to stay with the company because they are now a part of it. Save cash. It's useful for startups or companies that won't have enough money to pay high salaries. Great. Key takeaways. Certificate is like saying you worked hard for us. So here's a piece of the company to show our appreciation and let you share in our success. Great. Set certificate ये होता है. The purpose of issuing the shares is to motivate employee and top management or any other recipient to work in the interest of the company. It helps reduce the agency risk and account of separation of management and ownership. Although the main purpose of certificate is not to raise capital, the transaction does involve issuing new shares. तो चलो ये भी एक बार देख लेते हैं. चलो वैसे ये आ गया है. लेट्स स्टार्ट रीडिंग इट. व्हाट इज सेट इक्विटी एंड व्हाई इट इज इशूड? Sweat equity में क्या होता है? Sweat equity shares are given to people who contribute significantly to a company such as employees or management to align their interest with the company's success. Purpose क्या होता है? Motivation to encourage employees or management to work harder and grow the company. Ownership and alignment. It reduces the risk of employees or managers working against the company's goal. Ownership alignment. It reduces the risk of employee or managers working against the company goal because they are now have a stake in its success. Example for India, Infosys. Infosys, a leading IT services company, has used sweat equity shares in its early days to reward and retain its talented employee and co-founders. How it works: instead of offering high salaries, Infosys issued sweat equity shares to its employees, which gave them ownership in the company. If Infosys grew, the value of their shares increased significantly, turning their employees into millionaires. This strategy helped Infosys attract and retain top talent while building a strong culture of ownership and innovation. Key points. While sweat equity helps motivate employees, it also involves issuing new shares, which means the company ownership structure slightly changes as more people get a share of the pie. Takeaway: sweat equity like saying thank your hard work has made us successful. Now you are part of our success. Great. Employee stock option scheme. चलो ये भी पढ़ लेते हैं फटाफट से. ESOP भी कहते हैं. So ESOP are instrument given by a company to its employees that give them an option to buy the shares of the company at predetermined price after a period of time referred as vesting period. Typically, the vesting period is more than 1 year and companies may stipulate additional contribution for vesting. Okay. चलो इसको एक बार हम लेमन लैंग्वेज में अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं. Explain in layman language with example. What are ESOP? Employee Stock Option Scheme. ESOP is a way for companies to reward and retain employees by giving them an option to buy company share at a fixed price called the exercise price after working for a certain period called the vesting period. How it works? A simple example. Imagine you worked at Tech Tech Wizard Limited and the company offers you 1000 ESOP. Here's what happens. Offer. The company says you can buy 1000 shares for 50 each. That is exercise price after a vesting period of 3 years. At the time of the offer, the market price of the share is 50. After 3 years vesting period, the company's share is now worth 200. You can buy the shares at a pre-decided 50 and either keep them or sell them at 200 for a profit of 150 per share. Condition: the company may say you will not get the ESOP if you meet certain conditions like staying. You will only get the ESOP if you meet certain conditions like staying with the company for 3 years and achieving performance targets. Okay. Why do companies offer ESOP? Reward hard work. To thank employee for their contribution. Retain talent. Employee are less likely to leave since they need to stay to get the shares. Ownership mentality. Employees feel more invested in the company's success because they have become shareholders. Real life example: Flipkart scenario. Flipkart, an Indian e-commerce giant, offered ESOP to employees as part of their compensation package. Success story: when Flipkart was acquired by Walmart in 2018, the ESOP became highly valuable. Many employees who had stayed with the company for years saw their ESOP turn into significant wealth, with some buying while some becoming crorepati's. Key takeaways: ESOP are like a delay bonus where employees get a chance to buy company share at a lower price and benefit when the company's growth. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. The company retain talented people and employees share in the success. Right. Like sweat equity, the objective of issuing ESOP is to motivate employees to work in the interest of the company. The employee gain only if the company's share price rises above the exercise price of the option. The company will have to issue shares if the employee choose to exercise the option. Great. So we are done with this thing which is called as primary market guys. नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम सेकेंडरी मार्केट स्टार्ट करेंगे. सो आई होप आपको ये चीज़ें समझ में आए. कुछ भी डाउट है प्लीज़ लेट अस नो इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर प्रीशियस टाइम. हैव अ ग्रेट डे.